with your knees coming down and coming up. So, but what you guys have to understand, that's true, but it's the whole body compressing to whatever action that you're going to take. So he was saying, well, when we talk about movement, so if Ben is standing here, and he, say I'm from here, and I go to here, right? Which is from a bow to a 4-6, so extreme movement. He puts his hand out, you guys see, he puts his hand out here, and I'm in a bow, and from here I go to a 4-6. Now without his hand, you see it here, it looks like there's nothing happening. It looks like I'm just not really moving a lot. But with his hand there, and I'm from here, and I move here, there's a lot of movement in there. So when you take that and you examine all this motion from here, so if his hand is here, and I'm moving this way here, you see how much movement is here, right? What we call like the Elvis motion here, and all this, right? You're moving all this movement here. It's very, very subtle. Now, getting that range and shrinking everything down, which we don't have to rediscuss, all of that coming down in your spine, all of that working, it's not a bending motion. You know, like if he's standing here, right? If he's standing here, and I'm coming here, I'm not bending. So my knee isn't bending past, like in Tai Chi, you know, you're supposed to, when you're coming down, kind of keep your knee even with your toe.
Right.
Right? So I'm not going like this if I want to hit. I'm not going like this here to come in, because then also you start working on the ball of your feet instead of having it throughout the whole foot. So this here is your yin yang. Here, when I'm coming up this way here, you know, this is what's going to give me speed of motion. So if I'm coming down, this foot quickly moves. If I'm even, I have to readjust my motion to move. So one's got to be yin and one's got to be yang. So you're never really on the balls of your feet. So that shrinking down action that we're talking about has to amalgamate with your leg work, but it's the hip work. And it's that sinking. Sometimes you have to, you know, you kind of curve in your body because it kind of pushes things out. Or you're coming down to have that extra reach, but it has to begin here. So I don't want you to misconstrue what you were saying earlier, that if Paul is standing here and I want to reach him, let's say I'm further away, and I reach him, that I'm going to shrink down here and I'm moving my knee this way like I'm fencing, you know? It's more condensed. So if I'm here and I'm going to punch, but I move this a little bit here, I sink down and then I'm punching in. So all this motion, so now it's sinking lower, boom, and it comes in even harder. So I'm all at this type of level. It's never this movement. If you have to move this way, then you're not doing it. You know, don't throw it. You know, you just don't throw it. So me and Paul, we're standing against each other, right? We're moving here. He's moving around. I'm moving around, and he's like, say you're moving this way here, right? He's like doing here, right? Boom! This would be my move. Boom! If I have to do this to come in, then
But could you show how you came up like that when you threw that?
So from here is dragon. Remember we talk about dragon technique?
Yeah.
Dragon technique a lot. I don't know if we did that in past talks. You know, the dragon where he's very small and he gets very big. Now Paul and I are kind of equal in size. Let me take Joe. So now Joe is standing here. He's fighting me here. You see his back. So if I sink down, Joe has to lean in to hit. This is where I have him. You see, so I'm leaning in to hit. So as he leans in, I can come up. And this is where my hit is going to come in. Basically, I'm going to fake here and come around here. And that's where I would land the kick in. But it's all here. Nothing this way. If I have to reach this way, then you shouldn't throw it.
So you should step instead?
Well,
or reposition?
You have, each one of you have your own technique, your own style of movement. You know, how it is that you want to move. Now, and it depends on the fighter you're standing in front of. But you got to feel, okay, if you're practicing when you're sparring is supposed to be becoming the other person. There's a misconception of sparring. Sparring is always about beating and challenging. It's not that. It's about becoming that person. Once you become that person, then you're equalizing, you're understanding how you should be moving. Not about beating, oh, I got in, woohoo, big deal. You know, I tapped him, woohoo, big deal. And that's where ego gets in. It's a very difficult thing to break. But it's like if Paul's coming at me with his energy and I'm coming at him with my energy, I want to come out, if he's coming, say, so 100% and I'm 100%, I'm going to maybe be 101%. Just enough to view, to see, to work, just enough to keep him at bay a little bit, but also to really study his movements, his motions. Is he coming from a wood? Is he coming from fire? Is he coming from earth? Is he mixing it up? So if I could become more and mock you, shadow your movement, then I know at any time in real life, all of that eventually generates into, storage, and it's just easy and easy to predict what people are going to do. So sparring's really, it's a lost art. So the reason it's a lost art now is because it's become competition. So people don't spar on the street. People don't wrestle on the street. People don't box on the street. It's street. And this is what you're learning. Combat. Somebody's coming at you with a machete, you gotta act. Somebody's coming and pointing a gun at you and gonna shoot your head off, you gotta react. Somebody's fighting because they want to kill you and your family, you gotta react. It's not sparring. And sparring doesn't work. Sparring here, and what you do here, is really trying to become the person, to shadow that person, to really understand them, not beat them, or not feel good about yourself because you get something in, Now I think every Sifu or any teacher knows that you could be standing in front of your students and you're standing there and the student knows he can bop you in the head. He just doesn't want to bop you in the head for two reasons. One, like he's respectful, and two, if he bops you in the head, he don't know what the hell the Sifu's got to, okay, you want to fight? Let's fight. So it's two different ball games there, but you shouldn't even do that. You should just be concerned with shadowing the person's movement, really studying that individual, and that person's like an image in front of you that allows you to move against, even more so than looking in the mirror. You know what I mean? Like, if you can move with this person like you were looking at yourself in the mirror, then that's really the trick behind sparring, is becoming that individual. So when you're working through things and you're going through things, what we're talking about here is combat. So combat is if he's standing there and he's here, boom, this is where my fight has to begin, right here. It doesn't, so he's already engaged. I have to move from here. I'm always engaged. That's the unsheathed sword. You're always ready. And my stance here is ready. And I can just feel myself core down, and I don't feel threatened. I'm going to do what I have to do, or maybe I'll die in the process of it. Maybe he gets the gun to my head, or has this wicked, awesome, deadly dragon punch that he hits me in the face with, Dragon Ball Z or something, whatever happens. But it's not personal, it just is what it is.
Wait, so what if it looks like if he's back farther, and instead of coming up to take your position, that you come in
Same thing, you're already predicting that. So if he's here and I'm here.
and you're gonna go and
So if he takes
attack
his position, or if he rushes, you just see where you're gonna be coming in. It's really easy, because that's the viewing that you have to do. When you view, you always view this. It's almost a matrix. It's like the person comes at you slow. If you're in a ring, those guys, say the ring fighters, like mixed martial art guys, they come at you so fast, and they're big, So they go sit there, boom, and they're coming at you. But really, in combat, that moves slow, because as you come in, you can hit them with so much force and power, but it's not ring, and that's what I'm trying to say. And what's happened to the arts, it's become more competition and ring fighting than really the study of the art and what the spirit of the art is, Mortal Kombat. And there's just a difference, So it's all these different slices of pie that really have to make up what you're doing. So Paul takes a stance, again, getting into what I want you guys to work on today. If I'm here and say, so this is our fight stance, but say I take a position from here. The movement here is shifting my hip. So I want to come across here. This is where I feel I want to hit him, because he feels protected here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross my hand this way. Watch for this hand in here and cover both of these legs. Come across here, and I'm only moving from here, right? Still giving that illusion like I have to reach, right? I'm only moving from here to here. So my movement only moves this much. It doesn't have to do this. My movement was this much. I core down, I sink. Now this hand's going to move here, boom, and I'm coming in without leaning. Boom, and I'm hitting solid. Plus, it allows me for any attack that he comes with. Say I don't land that punch, or he comes in just as I'm throwing it and he grabs me, I'm still grounded. I still have a lot of power to come in with those punches that I like to do nice and close.